Hi, my name is Denise Suarez, and this is my presentation on the critical issue ethics. So we're going to be discussing the three core problems addressed by Henry Jenkins. The first one is participation gap. So it does not address the fundamental inequalities in young people's access to new media technologies and the opportunities for participation they represent. Expanding access to computers will help bridge some of the gaps between the digital haves and have-nots. So the haves would be the middle class and the have-nots would be the working class. Youths who have developed the most comfort with online world are the ones who dominate the classroom use of computers, and this pushes aside the less technically skilled classmates. These activities help shape the skills and knowledge students bring into the classroom and determine how teachers and peers perceive these students, thus making it unfair. The next one is transparency problem. It assumes that children are actively reflecting on their media experiences, and this can articulate what they learn from their participation. In reality, though, youth are often limited in their ability to examine the media themselves. Children need a safe space within which they can master the skills they need as a consumer of media, as they learn to decipher messages from self-interested parties, and where they can separate fact from falsehood as they begin to experiment with new forms of creative expression and community participation. The third core problem is the ethics challenge. It assumes that young people have ethical norms. The youth need to realize that their writing is much more open to the public and they can have far more reaching consequences. Young people are discovering that information they put online to share with their friends can bring unwelcome attention, especially from strangers. An important goal of media education should be to encourage young people to become more reflective about the ethical choices they make as participants and communicators about the impact they have on others. And we need to keep in mind the three core concerns, which are the three problems Jenkins addressed at the end of this section, which is how do we ensure that every child has access to the skills and experiences needed to become a full participant in the social, cultural, economic, and political future of our society? How do we ensure that every child has the ability to articulate his or her understanding of how media shapes perceptions of the world? And lastly, how do we ensure that every child has been socialized into the emerging ethical standards that should shape their practices as media makers and as participants in online communities? So the guidelines of ethics, these are NPR's principles targeted to provide a basis of ethics for their employees. We have accuracy, fairness, completeness, honesty, independence, impartiality, transparency, accountability, respect, and excellence. And so by defining ethics, we define what is good versus bad and what is right versus wrong. Next, we will be looking at the USA Today article, Student Wrongly Tied to Boston Bombings Found Dead, and Reddit, which is a participatory culture site where users from all over the world can go on here and comment on subreddits. They drew conclusions that the person in the baseball cap from the Boston Marathon strongly resembled the missing student from the university. And Reddit had apologized for this painful attention and dangerous speculation. And overall, we need to look at how we can help and not hinder a crisis. And this brought up the question, can this be done through addressing Jenkins' three core problems? So my reactions, I now have a better understanding of how ethics relates to education, and a big part of this is because I took Education 126 with JJ, Ethics in Education, and basically here I was able to apply my decision-making skills in various situations and learn right versus wrong through philosophical thinkers like Aristotle and Socrates. I do not believe that we can closely monitor everything. Yeah, we can implement watchdogs of the internet on school sites, but at the same time, I do believe that we should teach our students that their actions do have consequences, and this can be done through the implementation of a media education class where you can ask and work through questions of ethical practices. One example of something that can be done in class is a fake news activity where you distinguish what is real versus what is fake, kind of like the website The Onion, which is very satirical. But people believe a lot of things. And then what this does is that you can look at the backlash of something fake and how it impacts somebody's life. And this would be very good so students can learn to think before they post on social media sites.